This is the Patriots Prayer Network, where truth matters.
Hello, everyone. You are now live with me. This is Alexandra with Alexandra 360. It is so great to be back with the Patriots Prayer Network. I was in Italy for 2 weeks, and I'll show you some pictures of my journey. I started in Milan, Italy for a couple days. Then I went to Venice, Italy. There's some pictures of me right there in Italy. And then I went to Croatia. I went to Dubrovnik and Split, Croatia. And then I ended up at the Amalfi Coast. There's the cruise ship that I was on at the Amalfi Coast. It's beautiful. I went to Montenegro as well. Such a beautiful, gorgeous country. And then I ended up in Rome. There am I with the lemon sorbet, the famous lemon sorbet in the Amalfi Coast. You have to eat lemon sorbet at the Amalfi Coast. That's what they're known for, is the lemons, the lemon tree, the vineyards. And also I got to see the two oldest synagogues in Europe. The second oldest synagogue is in Dubrovnik, Croatia, and then the third oldest synagogue is in Split, Croatia. That's at the Amalfi Coast. There's a huge beach there. It was very warm there. It was 74 to 76 degrees Fahrenheit, and it was just a beautiful experience. But of course, I can't get away from my job. I can't get away from the politics. And as you know, I talk to everyone, and there was a lot of tourists that were in Italy and Croatia when I was there. And of course, the biggest thing we talked about was the election and the politics. And I actually got a chance to talk to some Italian natives. And I asked them, what do you think about what's going on in America about the presidential election? Do you want a Kamala Harris in there, or do you want a President Donald Trump back in the White House? And I called out the Italian citizens' bluff a little bit, because they said, well, we don't really get involved in politics here in Italy. And I said, oh, that's very interesting, considering that you had the president of Italy come to America, to New York City, and do an interview with Maria Bartiromo on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo. And he talked a lot about how we need to get the economy back in shape, not just in America, but all over the country, in his country. And he did talk about that things were booming and things were good when President Trump was in the White House. And he said a President Trump presidency would be better for his country and better for the people and the citizens of Italy. So when I mentioned that to an Italian native, she said, well, that's the government talking. And I said, well, that's a big thing when the president of Italy comes to New York and specifically talks about how he wants President Trump back in the White House. And a lot of foreign leaders, a lot of presidents and prime ministers of countries want President Trump back into the White House. So the girl finally admitted to me, she says, yes, things were better under President Trump. Our country was thriving. We weren't really under so much communist socialist rule. And we did have more freedom in our country. So I thought that was really interesting. And when I talked to some other Italian natives, they didn't even know who Kamala Harris was. They knew who Joe Biden was, but they had no idea who Kamala Harris was. And I, of course, educated them on who Kamala Harris is and what she's done over the years and what she wants to do for the future of America and in the world, and what she's currently doing now as the, quote, Vice President of the United States. And they said, oh, we can't have that. We can't have a continuation of that for 4 more years. Oh, no. I remember President Trump. Remember the great things that he did. We also showed the picture, I showed the picture, and so did my colleagues, of President Trump in Pennsylvania working at McDonald's, and we'll talk about that later. And what a wonderful thing that he did for the people of Pennsylvania, and how he supports the working class man and women of this country, how he always said, we need to help the middle class, we need to rebuild the middle class, reshape him. And he also just wants to help everyday Americans, regardless of race, religion, and creed, but not Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris wants to focus on just the Black people. She wants to focus on specifically women and that whole association with how she lies that President Trump, doesn't support IVF, how he doesn't support a woman's right to choose and so forth, the lies going on there, the BS coming out of Michelle Obama's mouth with what she thinks of how a president should be and how a president should act, and how Kamala Harris is great for this country and Tim Walz is great for this country. But we need to really explore, and I'll talk about that later, the communist ties that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have. And that this is real, and that this is serious. A recent report just came out that Tim Walz had an affair with a Chinese communist spy, very similar to that guy, that congressman in California, how he had Congressman Eric, I'm blanking on his last name, in California, how he had an affair with Fang Fang, or Fen Fen, whatever her name is. I mean, this is real stuff. This is real stuff. And how, former Senator Dianne Feinstein, she had a spy for 20 years from China working with her, working in the US Senate with her. And it all stems into all these connection of dots coming together. Again, the corruption in California, from where Kamala Harris was the senator and she was the district attorney, working with Gavin Newsom, who's the nephew of Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi. All of these dots are connected together. That's why they want Kamala Harris in, the deep state, the rhinos, the establishment. They want to keep that communist, that socialist rule in. That's why George Soros pushes hard for Kamala Harris, and Barack Hussein Obama, Michelle Obama are pushing hard for Kamala Harris to be in the White House. They're afraid of President Trump getting back in. They're afraid of what he will expose to the American people and to the world. But we need to understand is that the world now is in a crisis. And the economy is tanking all over this nation and all over the world. But the buck starts with America right now. We have the biggest election of our lives coming up November 5th. We need to vote the right way. We need to not vote for personality. We need to vote for principle over party. We need to vote for the person that represents you and the person that will get the job done. And we know that President Trump got the job done for us in 4 years. He wants to continue the job, the movement, the America First movement, which is what this country needs right now more so than ever. I came back to America yesterday. Gas prices are still very high. Groceries are very high. People have to decide if they want toilet paper or fruit. People have to decide if they want to get their hair done, if they want to get gasoline. I mean, it's very hard nowadays. And if you have children, it's even worse. What do you do with your children? What schools do you want to put your children in? Do you want to put your child in a summer camp? Do you want to homeschool your kids? The curriculum at these public schools is a disaster, especially in the liberal states such as Maryland and the state of Michigan and so forth. And we have to look at our wallets. This election is really about our wallets, the cost of things. I was very fortunate I was able to go to Italy for 2 weeks, but a lot of people are unfortunate. A lot of people can't travel like they used to. They were saying that people can't travel for Thanksgiving. They have to have a mini Thanksgiving in their homes this time. Some people can't even afford a big turkey. Turkeys are expensive now. So what do you have for Thanksgiving? How many people do you have at your Thanksgiving table? It's very sad. I just celebrate Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. I'm 100% Jewish. I had to decide, am I going to have, am I going to have apples and honey on Rosh Hashanah? Am I going to have a big break the fast? Where am I going for break the fast? Am I going to go visit my family for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur? Where am I going to synagogue? Am I going to go to a service that's free? Am I going to pay to be a member of a synagogue? Because memberships at synagogues are very expensive. I mean, these are things that everyday Americans have to think of. And if Kamala Harris is the president, God forbid, it's going to be even worse. Also in Milan, Italy, I saw a big free Palestine protest. A lot of protesters protesting against Israel, saying that Israel is an apartheid state, which we know isn't true, saying that we need to support Hamas, we need to back Hamas and back Hezbollah, and that what Bibi Netanyahu is doing is disgusting by defending his people and his country. I mean, these are the things that are going on all over the country and the world. But if Kamala Harris is, God forbid, our president, these #Free Palestine events, riots, rallies, whatever you want to call them, will continue, and they will be bigger. with more force. And you see that Iran is going into Israel. They want to hurt the Israeli people. They want to bomb Israel. They have nuclear weapons. They have nuclear bombs because Biden and Kamala Harris put us back in the horrendous Iran nuclear deal. I mean, these are things that we need to really look at. We need to look at the wars in the Middle East. We need to look at the war in Ukraine and Russia. We need to look at what's going on here in this country with this horrendous open border, and that innocent American lives are being murdered and killed, tortured, raped by illegals. We have illegals knocking on your door, telling you to get out of your apartments that you own or that you rent. That's what happened in Aurora, Colorado. We have Haitians in Springfield, Ohio that are eating their dogs, eating their pets. I mean, that's real stuff. And they're driving like crazies in Springfield, Ohio, and causing havoc for the citizens of Ohio. Look what's going on in Texas. Because of that open border, it's very scary for people that live in El Paso, that people that live in the Rio Grande. I mean, these are real issues. These are real issues. And as you know, I talk to people all over the country and the world. So we all need to decide November 5th, what is most important? What is most important? That Kamala Harris is a woman? Oh, we have to vote for we have to have the first woman, Black woman president of the United States. That's what we need. Or do we want to go back? Go back to where gas prices were low. Go back to real freedoms. Go back to the Constitution of the United States of America. Go back to where we were free and not having to worry about illegals knocking on our door or illegals invading our country. We want to reduce the sex trafficking, human trafficking, and child trafficking in this country. We don't need that to continue to increase. We don't need communists taking over our farmland, like Chinese communists are taking over American farmland. It's disgusting. We need to go back to our founding fathers. We need to go back to our amendments, our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, our rights. We need to educate our children on the Constitution of the United States and not educate them that at 3 years old they can change who they want to be and talk about their gender without parental consent. That's what we need to discuss. That's what we need to vote on. Again, principles over party. Just because a person has a D at the end of their name and you're a Democrat doesn't mean you have to vote for them every time. As a Jew, most Jewish people are Democrats. I work with the organization Jexiting. We talk about Jews exiting the Democratic Party and never looking back. And I have been very successful. My organization has been very successful in doing that. Jewish people are now starting to see the light. The Christian people, you need to vote Republican. I heard that there's Christians that want to sit home and not vote. No, we must vote. We must vote for the right person in office. President Trump has talked about the strategy of early voting. We need to early vote, not so much the mail-in ballots, but we need to go out and vote early to secure your vote. That's the strategy that President Trump and his campaign are talking about. But we need every single Republican to vote Republican. We need Democrats to vote Republican. We need independents to vote Republican because our country is at stake. Our freedoms are at stake. And that's the theme of today. Are we going to have socialism? Are we going to have capitalism? Are we going to have communism? Are we going to have slavery? We're going to have real freedom. Are we going to have total anarchy? Are we going to go back to law and order or not? And that's why we have a wonderful guest coming up, Sheriff Richard Mack. He's been on a lot of the podcasts here on the Patriots Prayer Network. He's a former sheriff and political activist. He's known for his role in a successful lawsuit brought against the federal government of the United States, which alleged that portions of the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act violated the United States Constitution. It's called the Brady Bill, and he did that, and he became a part of the CSPOA. So coming back after the break, we are going to have Sheriff Richard Mack.
Born in the coastal plains of South Texas, Smoking Gun Coffee is founded by combat veterans that know exactly what a cup of coffee needs to taste like. Run by father and son, each coffee bean is perfected, roasted at 500 degrees, and cooled with a Gulf Coast breeze. Smoking Gun Coffee hand makes and bags each ounce of coffee for maximum customer satisfaction. With every purchase, 10% goes back to organizations that help veterans and local communities. That's Texas made, one bag at a time. To find out more, go to www.smokingguncoffee.com.
America faces challenges like never before. Economic uncertainty, social unrest, debt implosion, The foundations of our freedom are under attack. To restore strength, prosperity, and the American way of life, Trump must win.
I plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world.
Introducing the Trump token, blending the deflationary model of Bitcoin with the technological advancement of Solana. It's more than just a cryptocurrency. It's America's future medium of exchange. The Trump token pledges to donate 50% of proceeds, up to $50 million, to Trump's 2024 re-election campaign. Join the movement. Stand with Trump. Secure your future at thetrumptoken.com.
I'm Alexandra Levine with Alexandra 360. Please go to smokinggun.com. Go to coffee clubs. You can click on Alexandra 360. Get your medium roast and your dark roast. We say the best part of waking up is Alexandra 360 in your cup. And of course, go to the TrumpToken.com. That is thetrumptoken.com. Now we have a wonderful guest, Sheriff Richard Mack. He's a former sheriff and political activist. Sheriff Mack is also the founder of Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and established, quote, the County Sheriff Project movement. So we have him right on. Thank you so much, Sheriff Mack, for coming on our show tonight, or today, excuse me.
Well, it's great to be with you no matter what time of day it is. And I have to tell you, Alex, did you go by Alex or Alexandra?
Alexandra.
Alexandra, I got to tell you, I said the same thing. The solution is not if we go forward. You said go back a lot of times. And that's exactly what we have to do. I believe metaphorically, we've got to go back to Independence Hall and embrace those principles as established by our founders, the principles upon which America was founded: small and limited government, self-government, self-rule, self-determination, self-protection, i.e. the Second Amendment. We're not in trouble today because we follow our Constitution too strictly. Far from it. We have strayed way off the path. The constitutional republic that our founders established for us is the solution today, just as it was back then. And I thank you for your monologue. It was very powerful. We must do that, and we must be true Americans, true patriots, and return to our constitutional foundation. You're still there. Okay. Okay. So anyway, I'm open for any questions you might have for me. And I would say that, yes, I actually started that lawsuit against the federal government. 7 of us sheriffs, and I started the whole thing, sued the Clintons.
Thank you so
and we
much
lived
for
to tell about it.
And we know.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
Yes, I thank you for that. And as you know, Sheriff Mack, you're in Arizona right now, and I'm going to turn it to the election a little bit. People are concerned again about the free and fair election that we hope to have. Yeah, you're still with us? Yeah.
Well, obviously, the election has us all very scared. And I am, because I don't think it bodes well for us, no matter who wins. And yes, I pray that Donald Trump wins. But if he does, what are they going to do? And we have all these dissidents, terrorists, cartels.
That was a great lawsuit that you did, and you accomplished that. We call it the Brady Bill, or it is called the Brady Bill.
Yeah, and here's a copy of the case.
But I want to turn to the election a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Did you cut out? Did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now, Sheriff?
Yes.
I was thinking you may have to log back out and log back in, because I know we're having some connection issues.
Well, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now, Sheriff?
I can hear you. You can't hear me. Let's see. Is my mic on? Do you have my mic on? Let's see.
Right.
Okay. Do you want me to log out? Okay, I'm going to log out.
Oh, I think we're having some connection issues with the sheriff. I advised the sheriff to log out and log back in. I could still hear him, but we're with Sheriff Mack right now. We're talking about the election. We're talking about free and fair elections. And as you know, oh, are you back? Yes.
I hope so. Can you hear me now?
Great. Can you hear me now? Are we better?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
Awesome. So I'm just going to ask you the question again. So Arizona, as you know, this is the state that you live in. People are very nervous about the elections going on over there because of what happened with Kerry Lake, back in 2022. People think that the elections still have not been fixed since 2022 or even 2020 when President Trump was running again. Do you feel now more confident about the Arizona elections than you did then?
No. And they won't even establish the simplest protocols or safeguards to make sure that the computers are working properly. We have suggested that every sheriff go to the county commissioners and just ask them to hand count 2% of the ballots after the machines are done, and they just verify that 2% do coincide with the percentages released from the computers or the machines. I guess they're not really computers, but they're computer programmed. They won't do that, and they scream and holler, "No, you're racist, you're crazy, you're extremist." We just want to verify the security of the election. That's all. And they won't do anything. And some counties have tried to go to straight paper ballots, and they scream bloody murder about that. If the established norms are violated in any way that have guaranteed cheating, they'll scream and holler and file lawsuits, and Dominion will file lawsuits if you question anything about them. Look, we know computers get hacked, and we know they get hacked pretty easy. And these machines have been tested before, and they've been hacked, and they're easy to hack. And the Democrats said the same thing, the exact same things back in 2016. The computers weren't tested. The computers don't work. The computers are hackable. And yet you try to do something now, and they're the ones that are the big liars and hypocrites that get in the way. CNN wants election fraud. They will not support or do anything unless the Democrats say so. So no, it's not fixed. I still believe that Trump can win and probably will win. But after that, what's going to happen? There's going to be violence, and there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in the country where they can try to blame Trump, attack Trump. Do you think they're going to leave Trump alone? They haven't left him alone for 7 years. They're going to go after this man. And I really hope that the sheriffs of this country are prepared to have President Trump's back. And we need to be prepared if Kamala gets in, because I'm telling you right now, we will need constitutional sheriffs more. We will need sheriffs intervening and interposing on our behalf more than any time in the history of America. We must erect the barriers locally in every county and take back our country county by county with the good people working with their sheriffs. And we train you how to do that. Go to cspoa.org, become a member of the CSPOA posse, and then we will teach you how to work with your sheriffs in creating posses or joining the posse he already has. Next question. Okay. Next question. Alexandra, are you there? I can't hear you. Nothing's happening. Where's our producer? So anyway, I don't know if your people, if you can't hear me, I don't know. I hope that some of this came across on your network, but we might have to try this again. I don't know what to say, but I ask everybody to do donations for Sheriff Jenkins out of Virginia. Please donate. The FBI have charged him criminally, and he goes to court next month. And we need to raise money for him for his legal defense.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. And we just have a couple minutes. Can you explain the role of the county sheriff and why people of power want to get rid of good sheriffs such as Sheriff Chuck Jenkins? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Well, they've attacked Chuck Jenkins in Maryland. Now they're going after Scott Jenkins in Virginia. And folks, we've got to raise some funds for these guys. These are good, honest, hardworking, constitutional sheriffs. Go to cspoa.org and make a donation for these sheriffs' legal defense, but especially Scott Jenkins in Virginia. We've got to help these people. The corrupt FBI is going after them. And isn't that ironic? They're actually investigating these sheriffs for public corruption. What worse public corruption do we have than the FBI? And they have no jurisdictional authority over these sheriffs. That's what our lawsuit was all about. And so anyway, everything that we're doing right now is to protect these sheriffs, to make sure that they're capable of protecting all of us. The sheriff is the most independent law enforcement officer anywhere in the United States. He only reports to the people. The people appoint him, and he works by, for, and of the people. So Alexandra, thank you so much for having me. And let's circle back and get back on after the election. And we pray that God will bless America this year, that the people, as you were alluding to in your monologue, that we will choose the right when we go vote this year. Not the party, not personalities. Who is right for America and who will get rid of all of these horrible criminals that have infiltrated America and the gangs and international terrorists, and restore economic order in America. So thanks and God bless. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Sheriff Mack. And that's, again, Sheriff Richard Mack. You can follow the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. Again, Sheriff Mack established the, quote, the County Sheriff Project movement. He is one of the best county sheriffs that I know out there, and he has been fighting for law and order. He has been fighting for the Constitution for so many years. And as he talked about, Sheriff Chuck Jenkins, who's a personal friend of mine, he's, unfortunately, the people want to get rid of him. And he's such a great sheriff, and he has helped so many people in Frederick County. People love him in Frederick County. He was at my event that I had for October 7th. I had a 1-year anniversary event in Frederick County. He came and spoke, and we had law enforcement there from Frederick County and Frederick City, and they said, I'm going to go up to Sheriff Jenkins. That's my sheriff. And just the love and embrace of the room for Sheriff Jenkins was there. So thank you so much, Sheriff Mack. We will have him back after the election. Coming up right after the break, we're going to discuss the difference between President Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. I don't call her vice president, never will. But if God forbid she becomes president of the United States, our country is in big trouble. Coming up right after the break.
As we age, we lose a bit of energy. Of course, that's not our fault. Our bodies change as we grow. Healing patches rejuvenate your cells and in the skin play a key role in the aging process. Research has found that as we age, the number and function of these cells decline, which can lead to a decrease in skin elasticity and the development of wrinkles. But what if there was a product that could restore that spunk for more than just our skin? There is, and it does. The product draws out other huge benefits such as more energy, better sleep, reduced stress, and pain management. If you would like more information, please go to miraclehealingtherapy.com. That's miraclehealingtherapy.com. Here's that website address once again, miraclehealingtherapy.com.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra living with Alexandra 360. We just had a wonderful guest on, Sheriff Richard Mack. I'm sorry for some of the delays and the connection issues, but I think my audience was able to hear a lot of the great things that he had to say. Again, please go to CSPOA.com. That's the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. Billy, can you put that website up again so our audience can see that? I want everybody involved with Sheriff Mack and what he's doing. Again, he's a constitutional sheriff. We need more constitutional sheriffs out there. And we are so happy that he was on our show, and he will be back on our show. There we go. Become the part of the CSPOA. He will be back on after the election. Now he's on a flight, and I would have, and it was so nice to have him on. And again, we will have him on after November 5th. But one of the biggest things, of course, that I talked about in my opening monologue was the difference between slavery versus freedom, communism versus socialism, and total anarchy versus law and order. Under a Kamala Harris presidency, she doesn't believe in law and order. She says, we can't go back. What does that mean, we can't go back? That means she doesn't want us to go back to no inflation. She doesn't want us to go back to low gas prices. She doesn't want us to go back to real freedoms. She doesn't want we the people to have jobs, because I have friends, and I've said this on my podcast before, that were on Google and worked for Microsoft for 25 to 35 years, and they were just laid off for no reason. And who took their jobs? DEI hires illegals. Illegals are coming in and taking the jobs of American citizens, especially in the more liberal states. We can't have this in our country. We just can't. And it's true. We can't go back, is the phrase of the Communist Party USA. That is correct, Billy. That is 100% correct. But why does Kamala Harris not want us to go back to real freedoms? Under President Trump, I can tell you I thrived as a woman, as a Jewish woman, as a business owner. I owned 3 businesses. I went back to singing. Under Barack Hussein Obama, he cut my opera profession. Opera houses were closed all over the country and the world under his economy, under his presidency. I had opera houses calling me saying, hey, our opera house is about to close down. You want some wigs? You want some costumes? Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm just getting over a bronchitis. Excuse me. But it's terrible. It's terrible under Barack Obama, what we went through. And then President Trump comes in, and guess what? I can sing again. I sang at veterans events. I sang for politicians. I sang at opera houses again. I want to go back to that. Then Joe Biden comes in, big COVID hits. He mandates everybody get the vaccine. That means that I couldn't sing at the Metropolitan Opera House because I had to be jabbed 50 times in order to sing there. I couldn't perform overseas. It's disgusting. I was just in Italy. I saw performances at La Scala, which is the main opera house in Milan. I went to a main opera house in Salerno, and it was beautiful to see opera singers again. It was beautiful to see the opera again. My friends next to me said, Alexandra, we want you to go back into the opera. We want you to go back. That's what I'm going to go back to. And under a President Trump presidency, he never wanted mandated vaccines, mandated masks, any of that crap. So I know under a President Trump presidency, I can go to an opera house and audition, and they don't have to ask me if I'm vaccinated. They don't have to request a PCR test from me. It's not going to happen under President Trump. It's not going to happen. So I am praying to God that President Trump gets back in that White House. I know for a fact that he's going to win. I know for a fact he's got the numbers to win. The only way he won't get back is the massive amounts of cheating that the Democrats are going to try to do. They've already said, oh, we're going to delay counting ballots 3 days after the election in Pennsylvania, delay counting ballots in Wisconsin, delay in Georgia. Well, guess what? Breaking news. President Trump's team just won a lawsuit in Bucks County, Pennsylvania that extends early voting to 5 p.m. That is a huge, huge win for the Trump campaign. And they need to keep going. And we need to keep going and getting these lawsuits thrown, or not thrown, but we need these lawsuits to pass so that we can, again, enforce free and fair elections in this country. A lot of people are skeptical to vote because they're afraid that the election will not be fair. If we do not vote, the Democrats win. The Democrats don't want you to win. Or excuse me, don't want you to vote, and they don't want you to win. They don't want Trump to win. They want Republicans to win. If Republicans don't go out to vote in astronomical numbers, we are going to be screwed in this country. You need to go out and vote. Republicans need to go out and vote. Christians need to go out and vote. Jews need to go out and vote Republican. Independents need to go out and vote. This is important. This is important. Yeah, Billy said it. No doubt he will win, but will they let him have the keys to the kingdom that will be rightfully his? That's a good question, too. They still want to, the attempted assassinations are going to continue. If he does win, they're going to try to say, well, he stole the election like they did in 2016. There's talk, Congressman Jamie Raskin in Maryland, he's talking about not certifying the election on January 6th for President Trump if he does win in November or November 5th. I mean, they're going to try to stall him. And then November, 2 days before Thanksgiving, President Trump's supposed to be sentenced by Judge Merchan to jail. Judge Merchan's hope is that President Trump loses, and then they sentence his behind to jail 2 days before Thanksgiving and say, happy Thanksgiving, President Trump is now in jail for a long time. That's what they want to do. But guess what? We the people, and even some Democrats are seeing this, people from minorities are seeing this, that the Democrats don't have a platform. This is Kamala Harris's Project 2025. Billy's going to put it up right now. What she wants, her agenda. Her agenda is open borders. No, that's another meme. That's true. It's 2020. Yeah, that's another meme, but we're going to, there it is. Kamala's Project 2025, citizenship for 20 million illegals, ban gas-powered cars, replace police with social workers, ban fracking, transgender surgeries for minors, which is what Tim Walz wants, taxpayer-funded reparations, pack the U.S. Supreme Court, government and big tech censorship, cashless bail for violent criminals, federal takeover of all elections, use tax dollars to fund abortions, enforce racist affirmative action, mandate vaccinations, and require government approval to buy a gun. That's what she wants. That's what she wants. Does that sound like freedom to you? Does that sound like freedom to you? Doesn't sound like freedom to me. That sounds like communism, socialism, Marxism, slavery. That's what she wants. Open borders, everybody. The illegals become the legal citizens. The illegals have more power than the American citizens. The illegals are getting hotel rooms in New York, money flooded to them, airplane rides. They get to do and come and go wherever they please. They get ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, things that really help people with COVID that American citizens weren't allowed to obtain because Dr. Fauci said it doesn't work, but it works for illegals. It's craziness. It's craziness. And all these hashtag Free Palestine rallies are going to continue. The Jewish people are going to continue to be hated on by these pro-Hamas people in our country. We have illegal Afghan, illegal Syrian refugees and illegal Lebanon refugees here in this country that are killing Jews, that are killing American citizens. We can't have that. We can't have that at all. But what is President Trump's platform? Let's put up President Trump's platform. It's a little blurred, but I'm going to read it to you. President Trump's platform, the 2024 GOP platform, is he wants to seal the border. He wants to continue building that wall. He wants our constitutions back. He wants to continue with keeping our First Amendment and Second Amendment rights intact. He wants to make sure that we have jobs for we the people. He wants to help the working class men and women of this country, the middle class. He doesn't want to ban fracking. He wants to continue with people driving cars that need gasoline. But he says if people want electric cars, it's their right too. But he's not going to take away your cars that need gasoline and just say electric cars all the way. He wants to get us out of the Iran nuclear deal, doesn't believe in the Paris Climate Accord, doesn't believe in the Green New Scam, which is a job killer, by the way. It's an economy killer. He wants to get us out of this inflation. He wants to lower the gas prices. He wants to stop the wars. He wants to end the wars. He wants to end the war with Ukraine and Russia, end the war in the Middle East. He wants to bring peace back to the Middle East. He wants to continue the Abraham Accords, which Bibi Netanyahu said we need to call it the Abraham Alliance. And we need to help we the people and put America first and foremost, the American people first and foremost, and American kids first, which my friend elected official Tim Fasenbaker coined the term American kids first, which is so true to this day. We can't have 4 more years of hell with a Kamala Harris, Tim Walz administration. Tim Walz is banging people that work for the Chinese Communist Socialist Party. Just like Congressman Eric, I can't remember his last name, Stoltz, or whatever the hell his name is in California. He had sex with Fang Fang, who was a Chinese spy. I mean, this is what we have. And then you have Doug Emhoff, who is hashtag not my Jew, hashtag never a Jew. That's Kamala Harris's husband. He had an affair with his nanny. He's had affairs left and right. He's no good. He's not a good person to put into the White House. And look at Kamala Harris's stepchildren. Ella Emhoff, who gives money to UNRWA, which was involved with October 7th. But then you look at the contrast of President Trump's children, how wonderful they are, how classy they are. Laura Trump, his daughter-in-law, the head of the RNC, Eric Trump running the Trump organization, but also backing his father and helping him. Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner, who go to Israel to help the victims of October 7th, who go to the kibbutzim where people were murdered, burned, tortured, and raped. And they give money to the hurricane victims. We had two major hurricanes, Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. Where is the FEMA money and assistance? My sister's still waiting for it. My parents are still waiting for it. Where's the $750 that people are required to have that lost their homes? We have flood insurance, but people can't get their flood insurance if they put that a flood of water affected their home. They can't even put it was a flood. They have to say it was a disaster done by torrential winds caused by the hurricane. That's how you get your flood insurance. It's crazy. It is crazy. But that's what's happening. That's what's happening in this country. And yes, there will be election fraud, unfortunately, in this country. All over the Rust Belt, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania are talking about it. But we, the people, have to stand up and rise against it. And we cannot comply. We cannot allow a Kamala Harris as the president of the United States or a Tim Walz as the vice president. We cannot allow this to happen. That's why you have to do your diligence and do everything you can to get out the vote, to be an election judge, to be a poll worker, to do everything you can to get President Trump back in the White House. Because if he's not in, our country is lost forever. And that's what Sheriff Mack was talking about. The Constitution, how it's so important, how we need a president who observes the Constitution, who loves the Constitution, who adheres to the Constitution, who respects the Constitution of the United States. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz do not respect it. They do not at all. Not at all. Kamala Harris says, we can't go back. He doesn't want our real freedoms. And I'm talking to the women out there too. The divorced women, the single women, women that have been tortured, women that have been raped, women that have had incestual relationships with their loved ones because their loved ones abused them. Those are the people that need to go out and vote for President Trump. President Trump cares about you. President Trump wants you to thrive. President Trump doesn't want you to be poor. President Trump wants you to be successful and have a job and not be a single mother struggling. He doesn't want you to struggle in this country. He wants you to have IVF. He wants you to have a family. He doesn't want to take your rights away from you. All this false narrative that he doesn't believe in IVF and that he doesn't want you to have an abortion, wants to ban abortion permanently. That is a lie. That is this false, stupid narrative that the Democrats are putting out. That is not President Trump. That is not who he is. He wants you to have a family and to thrive and to be successful. And if God forbid you were raped, God forbid you had an incestual relationship, he believes in exceptions when it comes to abortion. He has said it time and time again. Project 2025, he wasn't a facilitator of it, a director of it, doesn't support it, wasn't involved in it. It's people from the Heritage Foundation that put that together. He hasn't even read it. That's another false narrative the Democrats want to push. And now they want to push that he's a Hitler, that he said Hitlerian things. That's ridiculous. They want to equate his big rally that he had at Madison Square Garden, we have the picture for that, to say that, well, he had it on the same day that Adolf Hitler had in the 1930s. That's craziness. Let me tell you something. A man named President Bill Clinton, who we all know, he had a very similar rally, not as sold out as President Trump's rally, in 1992 at Madison Square Garden. Let's not forget the facts here. President Trump is not a Hitler. President Trump doesn't even come close to being a Hitler. Look at the wonderful things he's done for Israel and the Jewish people and for the Christian community. How can he be a Hitler? He believes in America first. He believes in we the people. He's never told people to go to a concentration camp. He's never divided people of this country and said, oh, you Jew, you go over there, you're going to get executed. That's what Hitler did. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's call out the facts. To compare President Trump or anybody to Hitler is a disgrace and disgusting. And the Democrats have been calling him that forever. They're calling him a threat to democracy. They want another attempted assassination on his life. But I can't say it on air, but they really don't want President Trump alive anymore, because they feel that that's the only way they can get rid of him, is if they annihilate him. And that's the truth. They want to eliminate the, quote, problem. He's not the problem. He is the solution. He's the solution to making everything better for this country. And like I said, I talked to people in Italy. I talked to people in Croatia. I talked to people in Montenegro. Some people were neutral about President Trump. Some people were on the fence about President Trump. Some people love President Trump. The friends that I hang out with, a lot of them are government workers. They support President Trump. I only hang out with people that support President Trump because they get it. They get it. They know that President Trump is on the right side of history. They know that with a President Trump victory, everybody's life will be better. We can't get rid of the Trump tax cuts. The Trump tax cuts are supposed to be cut in December 2025. We need to expand those Trump tax cuts that my friend Stephen Moore put into place with Larry Kudlow. That is an important legislation that needs to continue on. We also need to fix the infrastructure in our country, the healthcare in our country. Kamala Harris wants to get rid of private health insurance. That hurts my profession. Most people want private health insurance. They don't want Medicare for all or Obamacare. Biden and Kamala Harris want to expand the ACA, which is horrendous. I have never put anyone on Obamacare. I never will put anybody on Obamacare because it is a sham and because it's too darn expensive. Most doctors don't even cover Obamacare anymore. Most insurance agents pulled out of covering the ACA because it's unaffordable. That's why President Trump called it the Unaffordable Care Act. I call it the Unaffordable Care Act. It's a sham. The whole thing is a sham. You need to look into your wallets. Look at your children. Look at what they're teaching your children in school. Look what Kamala Harris and Tim Walz want to teach your children in school. My sister homeschools her children because she looks at the curriculum that's going on nationwide. They teach her children at public schools to have sex at 3 years old. They have books that talk about incestual relationships with the father and the daughter, the father and the son. It's disgusting. And then Tim Walz, under executive order, signed in Minnesota that children can have transgender or gender reaffirming surgery without parental consent. So I'm a girl, I'm 3 years old, I want to be a boy, I can go and have surgery without my parents telling me yes or no, without parental consent. That's disgusting. That's how you should be learning at 3 years old. You should be learning reading, writing, and arithmetic. You should be learning history. You should be learning about the Holocaust. You should be learning about the history of Rome, of Italy, Pompeii. That's what I did when I went to Rome. I went to all these historic archaeological museums to learn about the history of our ancestors, of Rome, of Italy. That's what you do. That's what you do. I want us to get educated. Most people don't even know when the Constitution of the United States was written. They don't even know our Declaration of Independence. And now I was reading that people have to take cursive off the websites, off the school curriculum, that kids can't read cursive because they're not taught cursive anymore. My mother's a school teacher. She writes cursive and the students say, Mrs. Levine, we can't read your writing. My mom's like, but it's cursive. You can't read cursive? Kids can't read cursive. The kids can't read in school. Baltimore City, Baltimore County, the reading levels are extremely low. These are things you have to think about. Think about your children, your children's children, think about your grandchildren. There's so much at stake right now. This is the most important election of our lives. And like Sheriff Mack talked about, our Constitution, the right to bear arms, our Second Amendment is so important. Kamala Harris wants to take your guns away from you so you don't have the right to bear arms. That's scary. That's very scary. We need to be able to protect ourselves. We need to be able to live the way we used to live when things were good, when we could afford toilet paper, we could afford to get our nails done, our hair done, we could afford to take our pets to the vet and clip their nails, when we could afford groceries. It's very important that we get back to real freedoms. When Kamala Harris and Governor Josh Shapiro talk about freedoms, it's not It's not real freedoms. They're talking about socialism, communism, Marxism. They're talking about not having the freedom. Not having the freedom to be who you are as an American. They want total anarchy, no law and order. You have to have law and order in this country. Sheriff Mack talked about that. You have to have law and order in this country. So my question to my audience is, what are you guys going to do to secure this election? What are you going to do to get President Trump back into the White House? What are you doing now? I'm working in Pennsylvania for President Trump. I'm working in other states for him as well, nationwide, getting the word out. What are you going to do? Are you going to do rallies for him, events for him? Are you going to help get money for him? Are you going to help people go to the early voting sites and vote for him? What are you going to do? Because if you sit home and don't vote, Kamala Harris wins. You have to get out the vote. You have to go vote. We have the right to vote. You need to exercise your right to vote. Coming up next week, we're going to have live podcasts from everyone on the Patriots Prayer Network. Live election night. I'll be on my regular time at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. I will be broadcasting live at 9 p.m. when the stroke of that clock hits. I will be broadcasting live about the numbers, and we will be keeping the numbers updated as they come in. I will not be going to sleep until they tell me President Trump is the president of the United States of America, because we all know that he's winning. We all know that he's going to win. We all know that there's no doubt in our mind that he needs to be in that White House again. And again, we have to do everything we can to make sure he gets in. But please tune in. We have some wonderful shows. We have my friend here, the Bearded Patriot, Bad Billy Painter. We have my good friend, Seth Eisenberg, who does the Conservative Corner at 7 p.m. on Sundays, but he'll be with me live. We have Elena Barbara. We have Two Guys in a Coup. We have Eddie, of course, who's our owner and our producer. We have Maurice, the Native Patriot. We have Damon Galdo. We have so many wonderful people on our show, Michaela Montgomery and Thunder. We have about 20 people that are on the Patriots Prayer Network, and we are growing and growing. President Trump knows our network. He has recognized our network. He has Michaela Montgomery and Ann Thunder. They speak at his rallies. They are part of our network. President Trump knows what's good, fair, and honest reporting, and the Patriots Prayer is fair, good, and honest reporting. And I just want to have everybody follow us. You can like and subscribe at the Patriots Prayer Rumble. Please follow us at Rumble. That is our biggest platform and channel. We're also at the Patriots Prayer on X, at the Patriots Prayer on Facebook, also at the Patriots Prayer on True Social. You can follow me, Alexandra Levine, on Facebook, at Levine Consulting on YouTube, at Alexandra LEVI20 on X, at ARLevine85 on Instagram, at ARLevine85 on True Social, and go to levineconsulting.co. That's levineconsulting.co. I own my own political consulting firm, as well as working with small businesses and big businesses in consulting. And you can also, if you like opera, you can follow me on alexandra-levine.com. That's alexandra-levine.com, where you can hear all of my operatic repertoire. You can take a look at my resume and see what's going on in the upcoming singing events that I'm doing on my website, alexandra-levine.com. Again, November 5th, that is the day. Get out and vote. The whole Patriots Prayer Network will be broadcasting live the entire day on Election Day. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe at the Patriots Prayer. This has been a wonderful hour. I'm Alexandra Levine, Alexandra 360. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.